What if I told you that the arrival of artificial general intelligence, AGI, isn't just about some fancy new technology? What if it's about a complete and total rewiring of how we see the world? A fundamental shift from a mindset of scarcity to one of, well, unbelievable abundance.
To get our heads around this, let's start with a question that sounds like it totally breaks the laws of physics. What if one single apple, instead of just being, lunch, could actually lead to 3,000 more apples? It sounds completely impossible, right? But stick with me, because this one little idea is the key to understanding the incredible future that AGI could unlock for all of us.
Okay, so to really grasp what's coming our way, we first have to take apart a core belief that, let's be honest, most of us were raised with. And that's the idea that our world is defined by scarcity.
From day one, we're kind of taught this scarcity mindset, right? That there's never enough. Not enough time, not enough money, not enough resources to go around. But what if the opposite is true? What if the world is actually naturally incredibly abundant, and it's just a matter of us figuring out how to tap into it?
Let's go back to our apple for a second. It's the perfect way to see this in action. You start with one apple. You eat it. Inside, you find maybe 10 seeds. Now, just one of those seeds is all it takes to grow a whole new tree. And that one tree, it can produce over 300 apples every single year.
So, by consuming that one apple and then planting its seeds, you've kicked off a chain reaction that can easily create 3,000 more. This is a perfect, simple example of how the right kind of consumption can actually lead to more production. You see? The world is literally wired for abundance.
And look, this isn't just some nice philosophical idea. This is hard physics. Take the sun. In just 1 hour, it beams down enough solar energy to power our entire planet for a full year. The resource is there, in overwhelming, mind-boggling abundance. We just need the right key to unlock.
So, if all these resources are just sitting there, waiting for us, what's that key? What's the catalyst we need to unlock all this potential? Well, that catalyst is artificial general intelligence, AGI.
So, what exactly is AGI? It's really important to know it's not like the AI we have today in our phones or whatever, which is really good at specific, narrow tasks. No, AGI is the real deal. It's an AI that can understand, learn, and reason across pretty much any subject, just like a human can, and maybe even better.
Now, the pace of development here is, well, it's staggering. It's hard to even wrap your head around it. We're not just on an exponential growth curve anymore. People who study this are calling it super-exponential. What does that mean? It means AI capability is roughly doubling every 6 months. That's a rate of change humanity has literally never seen before.
And this isn't just tech enthusiasts talking. This has gotten the attention of major global institutions. The International Monetary Fund, the IMF, is taking this so seriously that they've mapped out 2 main scenarios. One is a gradual path, with AGI arriving in about 20 years. The other is a much more aggressive, disruptive path where it could be here in just 5. And they think each has more than a 10% shot of happening.
And if you think that's just economists speculating, listen to this. Geoffrey Hinton, one of the godfathers of AI, a guy who literally laid the groundwork for all of this, recently said he's completely changed his mind. He now thinks AGI isn't some distant sci-fi dream anymore, but a very real possibility within that same 5 to 20-year window. When the experts get spooked, you know it's real.
So, all of this, it brings us to this massive, monumental choice. The arrival of AGI puts humanity squarely at a fork in the road, with 2 paths that lead to completely, drastically different futures. On one side of that fork, there's the path to collapse. There was this famous, or maybe infamous, study from MIT back in 1972 that predicted our endless chase for economic growth would lead to a full-on societal breakdown by the middle of this century. And, the chilling part? A recent analysis shows that we have been following that exact trajectory, almost perfectly. But here's the twist, and it's a really important one. That same analysis found that this prediction isn't destiny. It's not set in stone. With the right breakthroughs in technology, like AGI, and making smart investments now, we can actually steer the ship away from that collapse and build a stable, prosperous new kind of civilization. The choice is still ours to make. So what are these 2 paths? Well, on one side, you've got what you might call the Elysium future, like the movie. AGI is owned and controlled by just a few powerful corporations, creating unimaginable wealth for a tiny elite and leaving pretty much everyone else behind. Or there's the abundant future. This is where AGI is developed and guided with a focus on human well-being, on creating prosperity for literally everyone. So let's imagine, for a second, that we choose wisely. We take that path of abundance. What does that world actually look like?
What does it feel like to live in it? Well, welcome to what some thinkers are starting to call the meaning economy.
In this future, AGI and robots handle basically all of the production and services, all the stuff we do for work today. And this frees us, all of us, from the economic model we've been stuck in for centuries. The whole foundation of our economy shifts away from making things and serving people and towards things that are uniquely human, creating meaning in our lives, building deep relationships, and having incredible new experiences.
Now you're probably thinking, okay, but how does anyone make money? The most talked about idea is universal basic income, or UBI. The logic is pretty simple. As corporations become hyperproductive using AI and don't have to pay human salaries anymore, they'd pay a tax on that productivity. That tax money would then be given out to every citizen, no strings attached, giving everyone a stable financial floor to stand on.
Just think about that. With our basic needs completely met, what society values would fundamentally change? Instead of spending our lives focused on climbing a career ladder, we could focus on deepening our relationships with our friends and family, exploring art and philosophy, creating amazing experiences, and actually connecting with our communities.
Now, this all sounds pretty incredible, but I know it leads to a very practical, very personal question that I'm sure is on your mind right now. What on earth will we actually do? What jobs are possibly left in a world where AI can do almost everything? And this is the central fear for so many people when they think about AGI. I mean, seriously, if an AI can write better code, diagnose diseases more accurately, and even create breathtaking art, where does that leave us? What is our role in that world?
Well, experts believe that human work will shift into 4 main categories that are, for the most part, AI-proof. First, you have statutory roles. These are jobs that we as a society decide by law must be held by a human, like judges or elected officials. Second, meaning roles. Things like philosophers, artists, spiritual guides. Third, experience roles, creating unique in-person human experiences like a great tour guide or a live performer. And finally, and this one might be the most important, care roles.
And the best way to understand this with something called the baby test. Just think about it for a second. Would you ever trust a machine to cuddle and care for a newborn baby? Of course not. No way. A baby needs real, authentic human connection, empathy, love. And that is something that simply cannot be automated. These kinds of care-based roles, the ones that need a deep human connection, they will always be essential. So we end up right back where we started. This coming AGI revolution isn't just a tech problem we have to solve. It's a profoundly human opportunity we get to embrace. And it forces us all to ask a really big question. If technology finally takes care of all the production, what kind of meaning will we as human beings choose to create?